Hey everyone, welcome to Unwell and Unfiltered, the podcast where we talk about mental health, spill some tea, and remind you that it's okay not to be okay. I'm Arthi,
And I'm Via.
fellow humans navigating this wild thing we call life.
We think it's not only important but essential to talk about mental health and shed light on resources that could be helpful for people going through tough situations. Whether you're thriving, surviving, or somewhere in between, you're in the right place. We're all about keeping it real and well and unfiltered.
So buckle up and let's get into it. Today's topic is
Advocating for your mental health. So, September is not only a month for pumpkin spice lattes, but it's also Suicide Awareness Month. To honor Suicide Awareness Month, we want to talk about mental health stereotypes, advocating for mental health, and just share what our mental health journey has been like.
before we can talk about advocating, I think it's important that we talk about the reasons why it may be hard to speak up in the first place.
Yeah, so what are some stereotypes you say are common?
There's a lot of mental health stereotypes, and we're only going to talk about a couple, but it's important to push past stereotypes to get help because you deserve to be healthy and at a good baseline. But when you're not being seen, it can be hard to push for your needs.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a good place to start would be with depression stereotypes. Some people have experienced people in their lives saying things like, just snap out of it or stop being lazy. And these are just stereotypes. Like people with depression aren't being lazy. They're not in some days that they can just automatically snap out of.
It's hard because it's like, yeah, like when you feel depressed, it's nobody wants to feel depressed, you know? Nobody wants to like when you're depressed and you can't move, you can't get out of bed, like you're thinking about those things. You're like it kind of makes you feel worse and like nobody wants that for themselves, you know? Um I think it's really heartbreaking that people say things like that to people who are really struggling. Depression doesn't like it can really wreak havoc on a person's life. And also another stereotype is that depression just doesn't look like one way. Like it's not just like people laying in bed, although that is one part of depression and a way that a lot of people experience it. It's not the only way. It's not just like I can't get out of bed. It's like intense hopelessness. It's like it can be a lot of different things and people experience it in all different ways and sometimes you can't tell if a person's depressed just by looking at them because you just never know what people are hiding, you know?
Yeah. I think it's easy for people to fake being okay, but when people are struggling and they show that side of themselves, they're not faking it. People don't fake
Yeah,
being not okay. And when
100%.
yeah, and like when people show that side of themselves and they're vulnerable and they get shut down like this, not only does it discourage them to get help, but it also invalidates their own experiences. But like you said, depression just doesn't look one way. Depression looks like people showing up, going to work. Depression also looks like doing what
Mhm.
you need to do because you have to, and there's no wiggle room around it. I think another stereotype is that depression, people feel like it's only dictated by life circumstances. And
Yeah,
that's
like what's your reason for being depressed?
exactly. Sometimes people are depressed with no reason at all.
Yeah, for sure. And that's totally valid. Like sometimes it's just a chemical imbalance and that's completely valid, you know? Even if you don't have a reason to feel depressed, like the fact of the matter is that you're feeling depressed, you know?
Literally.
Um, and that should be taken seriously no matter what.
Yeah.
So, another not necessarily mental illness, but like a neurodivergency, I guess, is ADHD. And there's a lot of stereotypes that come with ADHD. It is very, very misunderstood, I feel like. And one of those is that like people associate ADHD with being disorganized. They
Mhm.
throw around the term ADHD like it applies to everyone, but then they also use it as like a insult almost.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, oh wow, like your ADHD is showing, or like they like it feels so common that people normalize it in a way, but also they don't take it seriously at the same time. Like they treat it
Yeah.
more of like, oh, haha, you have ADHD, instead of like, oh, I understand why that happened that way because,
Like, okay, like whatever you think you have
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. Um, People also assume that like ADHD is a children's issue, something that you like grow out of, and something that only boys have, which I think is absolutely insane because, first of all, no, you don't grow out of it. I think my ADHD has gotten worse as I've gotten older. And obviously not a boy. Still very ADHD. Girls can very much have it, and girls can very much have it from a young age. It just might present differently. And that's the other thing is that like people assume that there's only one type of ADHD, which is hyperactive, but there's actually three types of ADHD, which is inattentive, hyperactive impulsive, and combined.
And I think another stereotype that people say about ADHD, people with ADHD, is that they're lazy. But I feel like it's more of a paralysis or an executive dysfunction, rather than it
Yeah,
being like just pure laziness. It's like sometimes like it's so overwhelming you just don't know how to start.
I can very much relate to that. Yeah. Like it being hard to start things and honestly like procrastination and just like even things sometimes that I want to do or know that I have to do, like in my head, I'll just be overthinking it and giving myself anxiety about it. And like, I'll just be not able to move. And I'll just be like, why aren't you moving? Like, go do the thing, go do the thing. Why aren't you doing the thing? You
Yeah,
know?
it's like a mental battle trying to do things, and people don't see that, so they don't take it seriously. They don't value it. They don't acknowledge it, and
Definitely.
I think that's why that's a stereotype. Like they just see what they see, and then they go based off of what they see, and it's just
Hmm.
not a fair playing ground.
I feel like you and I could talk about ADHD all day, and we definitely should do an episode just for ADHD.
Yeah.
But I think another like mental health disorder is that we should talk about is OCD stereotypes, because that's another one that I feel like comes up a lot.
OCD is not just wanting things a certain way or having a clean space, which people associate OCD with. It's also thinking about the same thoughts over and over again, especially intrusive thoughts. So, like, let's say you feel like someone's mad at you, but instead of just being like, oh, they might be mad at me, it's like your thought process goes into like, oh, are they mad at me? Are they mad at me? Are they mad at me? But while that's happening, you're also searching for evidence that they are, even if they aren't mad at you.
Yeah, it's like literally it's an obsession, it's a compulsion, like it's not just a buzzword, you know? Like how people are like, "Oh, everybody has a little bit of OCD." Like, no, this is a real thing and it can become really distressing. Like people have really distressing thoughts and images in their head and like you have compulsions you have to do, which makes you feel better about anxiety or else you feel like you're going to explode, you know? Like it's
Literally.
not it's not as casual as people like throw it around. And then the next one is bipolar disorder that I wanted to talk about because I have bipolar disorder. And I honestly, in my own life, hear people, use bipolar as an adjective. They're like, oh, like the most common one, like, oh, the weather is so bipolar. And
Yeah.
like, the way I cope with that sometimes to make people uncomfortable, I'll just be like, oh, it's just like me for real.
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh." But yeah, personally, from my own experience as someone who has bipolar disorder, people will assume I'm crazy, make a lot of assumptions about what phase I'm in, whether I'm in hypomania or depression. And like, people don't realize, like, it's not necessarily jumping from one extreme to the next. Like, there are periods of stability too. That is a thing.
Mhm.
It's not just what you see in the media. What you see in the media is like, honestly, I think it's horrendous because it's like they're like mad and they're cheaters and like they can't take care of anything. And it's like the two extremes and they're violent. And like I just yeah, the only show that I really enjoyed that, like, showed bipolar disorder, and I would love to hear, like, if anybody else has, like, any other media depictions of bipolar disorder, because I would love to, see more, but anyway, there was an episode of Modern Love with Anne Hathaway, and I love how they did that. I think it showcased more bipolar 1, and I have bipolar 2, but like they still did a good job though. Like it wasn't like I don't know. I think they did a really good job of showing the disorder as a disorder
Hmm.
rather than like demonizing it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so lastly, we just wanted to discuss some general mental illness stereotypes.
Yeah, just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean you can't be mentally healthy. And some people make assumptions that people who have mental illnesses are dangerous or unable to live well, which is completely untrue. A lot of
Yeah.
people, many, 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 many people are have many people struggle with their mental health, but are still able to function and do things and live, have moments where they are mentally okay.
Yeah, you can have a mental illness and like you can still be thriving, you know? You can have a mental illness and you can be doing well. Like it's not just always downhill all the time, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a constant, you know? Just like how life is, it's not a constant
No, not at all. And I think that's what gets people because they think like progress looks,
a certain way.
yeah, it's not linear. It's very much like up and down, up and down. And where there's
Yeah.
a dip, there's going to be a rise. I think like like when you're looking at charts, sometimes the
Yeah, like
numbers go
whenever
down.
you're going through a low period, you know that like you're not gonna stay this low forever. Like you're gonna come back up eventually.
Exactly.
Something that really like drives me a little nuts though is when people say they don't believe in mental illness. I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe in mental illness? Like that's like saying like you don't believe in like science.
Right. There's
Like you
evidence.
don't believe in math.
Yeah, you don't believe in apples. You don't
Like
believe
what?
in air.
It doesn't make sense. Like mental illness is a thing. It exists. There's a
Mhm.
whole field of study. Like people genuinely like live with it. Like you can't. How can you possibly like? I just can you hear it not computing in my brain? Like it just
Yeah,
genuinely does not compute in my brain.
yeah, literally. I mean, it's just like people can't hold it. They can't. It's like it's not a physical thing that they can hold. So I think that's why they associate it with not being real. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that it's not real. It's very
Yeah.
much real. Whether we see it or not, people feel it and they go through it every single day. They have symptoms from it. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. The erasure of like mental health issues and like being gaslit by family, by doctors, like being told that we're too sensitive or too dramatic. Like that's another thing I think is like, yeah, it's another thing I think is like a big deal. I think a lot of people get told that
Yes,
um
my life.
until there's like a diagnosis or something and then they're like, "Oh, well, like I didn't know."
And even then,
Um
even if there was a diagnosis, does that mean they'll automatically start taking you seriously? No, because they have like their own values and their own beliefs and their own way of being raised to
They
like,
might still just tell you, "Oh, whatever you think you have," you know, they might
right,
still not even believe you, like, because some people just don't believe in mental illness.
at all.
The other thing too of, like, being too sensitive or too dramatic is, like, anger. I feel like anger is really demonized and, like, not given space to breathe in a healthy way. Like, people see anger and they're like, oh my God, like you're angry. Whoa, relax. Like even if
Yeah,
you have a valid reason to be angry or upset, like they'll be like, whoa, relax. Like
yeah.
even though anger is a totally valid and healthy emotion to have.
Yeah, it is. It's like our it's a way we express ourselves, and there's you shouldn't have to suppress that part of yourself because it's not seen in a good light. People
Mhm.
are allowed to be angry about things, especially if they've been hurt in some
Mhm.
way. They should be able to feel angry. And when
Period.
you have to abandon yourself constantly to keep the peace or whatever, it only makes someone feel that emotion more intensely because they're having to suppress it and hide it and conceal it just for the sake of others.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And that's only gonna make your mental illness, like, fester and make it worse, you know?
Exactly. And people think that everyone with a mental illness needs to take meds, and that's just not the case sometimes. There's all sorts of therapy that can help. Like, for
Yeah.
example, which one is this? It's like cognitive restructuring.
There's cognitive Yeah, there's, like, cognitive behavioral therapy, there's solution-focused therapy, there's, like, EDMR, I think, is, like, the
Yeah,
I one.
yeah.
Um,
It's not just taking medication, it's also
yeah,
doing the
there's, like,
inner
art
work to
therapy,
heal.
there's
Yeah,
shadow work, there's so many different there's, like, inner child there like, there's so many different kinds of therapies out there.
just like
There's, like,
stereotypes.
somatic therapy,
Mhm.
even, physical movement can be considered, like, a therapy in its way, you know?
Yeah, physical movement. But just like how there are so many, so many options out there for therapy, there's also lots and lots and lots of stereotypes out there, and it makes it really scary to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main things that has stopped me from seeking that help that, I know I should probably get. But it's all part of my mental health process. And I want to take a moment to talk a little bit more about our mental health process and what
Yeah.
it looked like. So what would you say your mental health process has looked like for you? Right.
So, um, I've been going through the mental health I've been going through this process probably my whole life. I have had bipolar disorder, ADHD, and generalized anxiety probably my whole life. Although I wasn't diagnosed until a couple years back, but I always kind of knew something wasn't right. And I think everyone around me also kind of knew that something wasn't quite right, but like we didn't really have the language to really express what was going on. And I definitely didn't as a kid, you know?
Hmm.
Um, but then in middle school and throughout college, my mental health kind of started to get worse and I started engaging in things like self-harm to cope. And in middle school, I attempted suicide. And when it didn't work and all it did was make me sick, I was so embarrassed and I didn't tell anyone. And then in high school, I kind of started opening up more to my friends about like how I was feeling. And I told a friend about my suicidal thoughts and self harm. And she told the school counselor that she was worried about me. And the counselor told my parents. And that was a big, huge thing because I ended up having to go to the crisis center. And I really didn't want my parents to know. Um,
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
yeah, I didn't want it to be a big, huge thing.
Hmm.
Um, I was embarrassed even. Like I was, I was but anyway, they told my parents, I was taken to the crisis center, and basically I lied. Like when I went to the crisis center, I lied a lot. I was like, I don't have thoughts of suicide. I'm perfectly okay. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know why I'm here. Like this is
Right.
dumb. And they even asked me to come back just to like check in again.
Hmm.
And even the second time I was like, "Yep, all good. Everything's good."
Right.
Um,
Don't
because
need
I was
help
just
here.
yeah, exactly. Because I was just worried that like if I spoke up about my mental health that like I don't know, I would like go to a hospital or something immediately and then like that would somehow impact my future and ruin my future. And
Oh,
yeah, like that's really scary, especially for
I
a
didn't even think
kid.
of that.
Like everything was about our future.
Yeah.
Um So then in college, with getting a job and going to school, trying to have a good social life, I was just like struggling to balance everything. And on top of that, with my mental health, I was just struggling a lot. And I just felt like I was all over the place and I just needed help. And
Mhm.
so I first started seeking mental health treatment for ADHD. I felt like being medicated would solve all my problems.
Mhm.
Um, and don't get me wrong, meds are super helpful, but they are not a cure all. Like you still have to
Mhm.
put in the work even when you're taking meds. Um, at first, I was misdiagnosed, and that's the other thing. Like, this is all a process. So misdiagnoses happen, and they're kind of common. Um, but first I was misdiagnosed with depression. I was prescribed antidepressants, which I believe pushed me into mania. Since I
Yeah.
didn't have a bipolar diagnosis at the time, I don't really know. But I was working 2 to 3 jobs. I was taking classes at college. I was going out. I was being there for my friends. I was not sleeping. I was living on coffee and hookah, driving all the time, spending a lot of money, etc. So like I feel like I was probably pushed into mania there.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a lot. 2 to 3 jobs with
yeah,
college. Oh gosh.
yeah. Was not sleeping very much.
I don't blame you. That
Um,
sounds that sounds like a lot.
yeah. So after seeing a few therapists and psychiatrists, which by the way, I just want to say it's totally okay if you feel like your therapist isn't right for you and you
Mhm.
deserve to find the kind of like the correct right care team that fits and suits you.
Mhm.
If the first therapist or the second therapist or even the third therapist, if they're not a good fit for you, find someone else because someone else is going to be a good fit for you.
Oh,
I went through several therapists
mhm.
and psychiatrists before I found the right ones for me. But I eventually received the correct diagnosis, and but my medication journey is still going on because it's a whole process. And I still struggle, but I can deal with it a lot better now. And that's what I think healing is really all about is like doing better, doing the best with what you have. And I haven't self-harmed in 8 years.
I love that. I
Thanks.
I love that so much. I just want to take a moment to celebrate you, how far you've come,
Thank
because
you.
it's really like when we fall into those habits, it's really hard to break out of it, especially if it's something that brings us comfort. And it's really normal to want to find a way to ease that emotional pain when we're going through so much. So, yes, kudos to you. You did
Thank
it. I'm proud of you.
you. Thank
Yours
you.
here.
I
And
still feel the urge sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I know how to cope with it, you know? So
yeah,
like I'll do 800 things at once and I'll be too busy to think about wanting to hurt myself.
I
And
love
it
it.
works.
Just redirecting our attention or our, I guess, urges, put focus
Mhm.
put focus onto something else really does help. I
Yeah.
also did struggle with self-harm, but like in a different way, in a very different way. Like I harmed myself with drugs and bad people and putting myself in dangerous situations to cope.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just kind of living life on a ball, I guess.
I mean, that definitely, if you're doing it with the intention of like hurting yourself, or you're doing it and you're like, oh, I don't care if I get hurt kind of thing, you know?
Right. Exactly. And while I haven't formally been diagnosed, I did go through a lot from my childhood into my teen years. And I think things really got better for me when I graduated high school. I don't know what it was about high school or like just school in general that just made me feel so cornered. And I think it was a lot with having like my home life being disorganized too.
Yeah.
But I know, even
High
though I
school is
don't have a diagnosis, I know there's something going on, and I should probably look into that. But there's still a lot going on. Um, but I, throughout my teen years, I have attempted suicide many, many times, and it does sound weird to say out loud. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds really uncomfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
Talking about all of this, writing it down is one thing, but like saying it out loud, it just sounds so real.
Yeah.
And I guess you don't really like realize you went through all of that until you're out of it. And then you can look back and be like, oh, wow, that's actually a lot. But when it's happening, it just feels like, oh, this is another Tuesday.
Yeah. When you look back, it's like, oh, whoa, actually, maybe it wasn't just another Tuesday.
But I do want to say that working for 988 has helped me so much with my healing journey and, just helping me understand myself by helping others. And you might think like, oh, you can't help someone if you're like mentally ill, but it's like different. Like I wasn't there for myself in a way, and I didn't have to abandon myself to understand myself either. It was just kind of like learning by observing and also by helping. And
Yeah.
helping others gave me that perspective that I wouldn't normally get from just talking to people, like small talk. I wouldn't get this from small talk.
Hmm.
But when you're in that setting and you're helping someone and that when you're helping someone that's going through something similar like you, it gives you this whole different perspective and puts you in a new pairs of shoes. But
And on 988, you like completely cut through, like, there is no small talk. You just get right to it.
exactly. And I think that changed the way I approach conversations too. Like I feel more relaxed to be able to just dive right in without,
Yeah.
feeling awkward or not knowing what to say when someone shares something deep with me. And I really love that. Like I love that I can just talk to people about anything. But I want to say that overall, I feel like this question is a little bit hard for me to answer because I'm kind of avoiding going to therapy in a way. And if like I can give a million and one reasons why I haven't been to therapy, but they're all kind of excuses. I think at this point I'm honestly just avoiding it because if I go to therapy, then that means I have to address things that I don't feel ready to address. And maybe people can relate. Like, it's not easy being in the spotlight and facing the fact that I've hurt people too and taking accountability for my own mental health, if that's the right
Hmm.
way to say it.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, even now, like, I have so many responsibilities going on in my life from like taking care of my kids, going to work full time, and trying to keep up with the cost of living, like, keeps going up for some reason. I feel like I
Yeah,
do 10 jobs just to buy groceries. It's insane.
literally.
So by the time I sit down, I have enough time to breathe just a little bit, and that's it before I have to go back into that and like take care of everything else and everyone else. And
That's
you know,
exhausting.
it's just hard to get help when you're a mom who is spread so thin. But yes, mental health is a process even after you become a parent. I don't think I think I spoke to like a therapist once when I used my work's EAP program, but by that time, like we met, I wasn't in the mood to talk about everything that's happened. I just wanted I don't know how I wanted to go about it, but if I had to like tell them my entire life story, that would take multiple sessions. And I feel like I could use that time to do something else more productive in a way. Like, this is just like my thought process about it. And I'm not saying don't get help. Like, if you can get help, please do get help.
But I
I
get what you're
think,
saying, like, it's hard to, like, when you're going through something and then you have to wait, like, a whole week before you can see your therapist again, and by the time you see them, it's like, "Oh, well, I already went through it, and now, like, I don't know what to tell you," kinda
Mhm.
thing.
Exactly. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't even feel those emotions anymore. And saying it would just feel ingenuine. Like, I'm like retracing my steps on emotions that I don't even want to feel anymore. Like, I just want to be,
Mhm.
it's already done and over with. I already moved on. Like, we could debrief about it, but and we can understand it a little bit better. But I don't know. I think once my kids get a little bit older where they don't need my constant undivided attention, then I will start looking into, going to therapy a little bit more often.
And like processing what you went through.
Hmm. Yeah, like maybe later down the road, not this year, maybe next year. But
Yeah.
I
There's
even
no rush. There's no like end point. There's no rush. It's all on your timeline and as you feel comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable, then you're not going to open up. And if you're feeling like the whole point is to heal. And if you're feeling uncomfortable the whole time, then like
Mhm.
you're not, it's not a, it's, if you're uncomfortable, then that's not a space where healing can happen.
Exactly. And that's another reason why I feel like working for 988 really helped me with my patience because I do see my trauma coming up while parenting. Like, for example, if my kids are screaming, that's incredibly triggering for me because, of all the screaming that
Mhm.
happened in the house when I was younger. But I have learned how to separate myself from though like that trauma and also being present and a parent for my kid because if I react in the same way my parents reacted, I'm only continuing the cycle. So it's like when you're a parent trying to heal from your trauma, it's a lot of inner work you have to do on your own time. And when I do get some spare time, I do take time for myself to do self care and all the things I need to do to feel emotionally okay. Like after, like kind of like emotional laundry. I make sure to do those things, even if I'm not talking about, you know, everything that's happened in my life with somebody and understanding why it happens the way it happens. I guess you can say it's
Oh,
like micro healing. Like I find pockets in my day to do it when I can.
that's awesome. You're doing what you can, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like as long as I'm like continuously working on myself, it's I'm still doing something, even if it's not
Yeah.
like the traditional go to your therapist and talk about things, take meds and work through a care plan or anything like that. I'm just fine. Like if I can journal a little bit, I feel like that's still like a step forward.
Yeah. You're doing what you feel like is right for you in the moment.
Yeah.
And everyone's coping tools and everyone's support system, it looks differently. So if yours doesn't right now, if it doesn't include a therapist, that's okay. But if later down the
Mhm.
line it includes a therapist, that's okay too.
Yeah, I think I'm not at that level yet, but you're absolutely right. Like everyone's journey is not linear. There's ups, downs, and then there's sometimes you need extra help with things, and it's totally okay to reach out for help when you're ready.
It can be really hard though to reach out for help sometimes. Sometimes people feel burdensome, like their problems aren't enough, or like I know sometimes people tell me like, "Oh my God, well like other people have it worse than you do." Like,
Oh my gosh, that
um,
one grinds my gears so much. I get so upset when I
yeah,
hear that. I'm like, okay, great, but your experiences are still your experiences. What is
yes,
what does Joe got to do with you? Like Joe is going through his own thing, and your feelings
yes.
are still valid. They're still real. Like you know.
Absolutely. And like, yeah, and like people don't want to bother other people in their life, but like these kinds of these kinds of things, they just further isolate you and they just make it harder for you to get the kind of help and support that you actually need. And on
Yeah.
top of that, it takes away the opportunity for your loved ones to want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
then they don't have that, like they might want to help you, but then like they don't have that space. You're not giving them that space to be able to help you even if they want to.
Exactly. And I think a, a lot of it when it comes to your healing journey is learning how to receive love too because when you feel like a burden for so long, it feels so bad asking for help. Like you really don't want to
Yeah.
burden anyone or feel like you're taking away from something. Like you just don't want it. So it's like you naturally just reject help or reject receiving support or reject love or whatever it is to not be a burden, even though you want it so bad.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Another reason why it can be hard to get help is because people are afraid of being judged or
Mhm.
dismissed or being told that they're too much or all of the above. You know, you can be
Exactly.
too much and not enough at the same time for some people. And like, it's heartbreaking, but especially if you've been rejected in the past. Um,
Mhm.
but by being afraid of being judged or dismissed, you're not giving yourself the opportunity for true connection.
Wow, I got
You
chills.
know, you're
Yeah,
not
that's true.
allowing.
That is really true.
Yeah. Another one is feeling like you have to be the strong one. I feel like a lot of men go through that, feeling like they have to be the strong one or present themselves a certain way.
Yeah.
Um, but strong people need help too.
Yeah, it's
Everybody needs help
heavy. It
sometimes.
it gets so heavy carrying that emotional weight day in and day out with no place to put it down. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if you're in a toxic or abusive relationship, your safety absolutely comes first, but you also deserve to have help and to be in a better situation too, because like people who are involved in toxic and abusive situations, they feel like they, you know, I mean, at least for me, when I was in an abusive or toxic relationship, I was scared to ask for help because
Yeah.
of an array of feelings. Like I can go down a whole list, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. No, abusive relationships can be really scary.
Hmm.
And trying to get out of one and like trying to like keep it on the down low from your partner and like that that can be really scary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, another one is like if you don't have money for therapy or medication, um, it can be hard to ask for help because people are like, "Oh, well, if I don't have the money, then what's the point?" But
Yeah.
and it can get expensive, especially if you don't have insurance, I will say, like, it can definitely get up there, also depending on what kind of care you're looking for, because not all therapies and medications cost the same.
Hmm.
Um, but don't give up. I mean, there's still resources out there, and there's people who wanna help you. It just might take some time, but that doesn't mean that you aren't worth getting help.
Yeah.
Like, my mental health journey, it took a couple years to actually figure out what was wrong and get me on the right path, but
Mhm.
it was worth it.
Yeah. It is. It's like you're investing into yourself because if you are able to heal from the things that, that's been carrying you or not carrying you, weighing you down, you're
Mhm,
able to approach situations and opportunities with a clear mind and also accept the things that you deserve and not like reject things because you feel unworthy of receiving that care and support.
mhm,
And I think a lot of people can resonate with the fact that therapy can get expensive, especially with the cost of living and multiple responsibilities. It's like, is it even in
mhm,
the budget to go to therapy? Like I need to eat, I
mhm,
need to feed people, I need to take care of this, that, and the third, and then random bills come up. It's like, it's understandable how financial aspects can get in the way of getting support. But there are pro bono counseling resources out there, support groups, things like that. So you really don't have to go through everything alone.
mhm. Another reason why it can be hard to ask for help is like if the people around you don't believe in mental health, like we talked about earlier, those stereotypes.
Yeah.
If people don't believe in mental health, it can be hard and anxiety inducing to be like, hey, like I have a problem, because they're just gonna be met with backlash and like dismissal.
Hmm. Literally.
Um, but if you're worried about the aftermath of what happens after speaking up, for example, a lot of people who have thoughts of suicide have a hard time admitting that because they're worried they will immediately end up in the hospital. Kind of like me when I was younger. Um, um, but there's other ways of getting support that are not going to the hospital.
Yeah.
There's, like you said, like there's so many different avenues and so many different routes that you can go in terms of getting support. And people, I feel like therapy is talked about a lot, but there's a lot of different ways of coping that people don't talk about.
I think something that really helped me, like, I guess, heal, like, do inner work without going to therapy in a traditional setting. And
Mhm.
I think it's just like like listening to other people go through like listening to podcasts like this, right? Like
Yeah.
hearing other people's stories, listening to people talk about their mental illness and how they overcame it, and just like
Helps
overall
you feel
just
less alone.
yeah, pretty much. Like I felt less alone. I'm like, oh, like I'm not the only one going through this. Like someone gets it. Like someone out here is really like going through what I'm going through. And that really helped a lot. Cuz when you're going through so much and you're doing it alone, it can echo. Like it can feel
Mhm.
so loud, kind of like an echo chamber in a way. Like it's just like you're bouncing your ideas off of yourself. And if I'm feeling bad and I want to, not be here, I'm just gonna feel it more.
It's just gonna get amplified.
It's just me. It's just me in here
Yeah.
screaming into an echo, into like a
Yeah.
cave or something.
Right.
Mhm.
So when it comes to advocating for your mental health, what does that actually look like in real life? Now that we've actually talked about like the stereotypes and like why it's hard to get help and why it's important to push past that,
Mhm.
what does advocating for your mental health actually look like in real life?
Well, set those boundaries with people in your life. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for you, but for me, it was the people. The people around me drove me nuts. So set those
Mhm.
boundaries with those people. If it's not okay, say it's not okay. Say no when you need to. Make sure your time is respected, because when you give out your
Mhm.
time free for free, you're gonna have no time.
3.99.
Yeah, no, your time is expensive. Your time is valuable. Protect it. It's not free. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, especially when
Um,
people make you feel uncomfortable, stand up for yourself too.
mhm. Standing up
Hmm.
for yourself, I think, is so important. I think that's like the biggest part of like when it comes to advocating is like you you got to stand up for yourself and what you feel like is right for yourself.
Absolutely.
Um And that also includes, like, at school like, yes, the people in your life, absolutely, like, if there's boundaries that need to be set there, definitely set them.
Hmm.
But also at school and at work, you can ask for accommodations, like asking for extra time for assignments or extra time at breaks at work or more frequent breaks if you need that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
people take smoke breaks. If you are feeling unwell and need to go take like a snack break or something or a water break or something, you should definitely, talk to somebody about that so that you can have that time for yourself.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I took some time to take a walk around a shopping center that is pretty lively, and I tried a new coffee store. I tried a new coffee drink. I'm a vanilla latte girl, but yesterday I tried something pistachio.
Ooh.
Like I think it was pistachio blossom, whatever it is. It kind of tasted like soap, but hey, I tried it. Some I
It
tried
tasted
something.
like soap.
Tasted like soap. But I listened to my favorite song while wearing my favorite outfit because I just needed some time to myself, away from everyone, away from
Yes.
everything. Just like an hour, just me, the sun, my drink, my music,
Yeah.
just me.
Just coping in the way that you need when you need it
Hmm.
is definitely a way of like advocating for yourself. Just like, "Hey guys, I need to do this for myself." Like, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think that's what really like advocating for your mental health looks like. Just like doing things for yourself. Like you don't have to be selfish or anything. Like it's not
No, yeah.
selfish to do things for yourself. And
It's
don't
not
ever,
selfish, and it's not mean, and it's not rude.
exactly, and don't ever let anyone tell you that you're being selfish for doing things for yourself at all. Like
Mhm.
no. But
And another thing, speaking up, I think I said this earlier too, but another form of like advocacy, like advocating for your own mental health, is speaking up if you feel like your therapist isn't helpful or aligning with your goals. Same for your doctors. Like you're allowed to fire your therapist and find someone who better aligns with your needs.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually really important to do that. You don't have to stick it out with a therapist just because, like, oh, this is the one that like I happen to be matched with, or this is the one that
Right.
like I picked out, or whatever. Like, it, no, you can, there's others out there, and you deserve to find someone who's right for you.
And if it reminds me of this one quote, it was like, just because you spent a lot of time making a mistake doesn't mean you need to continue making that mistake or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
just because you spend a lot of time with that therapist doesn't mean you need to continue spending any more time because your time is valuable. And
it's
yeah,
expensive.
yeah. So along with everything, we do have resources that we would love to share with you guys.
So, the first resource, I liked Mental Health America's article on tips for talking about your mental health. It talks about what to do if someone talks to you about their mental health. Just head to mhnational.org and search for tips for talking about your mental health and select the resource option. We'll also probably do a post on resources and I'll just link
Mhm.
it there.
Another resource that stood out to us is the Child Mind Institute. There's a great article on how to talk about mental health issues with advice on who to talk to, having a conversation, what if people don't respond well, building your team, setting boundaries, helping others, safety first, all of that. And childmind.org is the website, and just search how to talk about mental health issues and it should come up.
So, that's it for today. Thanks for listening to our unfiltered thoughts, and we'll see you guys next time.